Do you know the rules your dog is holding you to every single day? You love them. You feed them, walk them, let them take over half the bed. But here's what nobody tells you. Your dog has a set of expectations you never agreed to, and every time you break one, they notice. Most owners spend years sending the wrong signals without realizing it, slowly eroding something they can't quite name. We're going through 7 of them today, and honestly, a couple of them, especially the one about what happens the moment you reach for your dog without thinking, are going to completely change the way you see every interaction you've ever had with them. Let's start with the rule your dog enforces the very first second they meet you. 1. Let them sniff first. It's not optional to them. Have you ever stretched your hand toward a dog? Maybe yours, maybe one you just met, and watched them pull back slightly, even just for a fraction of a second? Most people read that as shyness, bad socialization, a quirky personality. So they push through it, reach further, and make contact anyway. But here's what's really happening. That pause isn't reluctance. It's a request. Dogs process the world nose first. Before touch, before eye contact, before anything you do with your body or your voice, your dog needs to smell what's in front of them. It's how they identify who you are, how you're feeling, and whether this moment is safe. Skipping that step doesn't just catch them off guard. In their language, it means you don't speak it at all. Dogs carry somewhere between 200 million and 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to roughly 6 million in humans. But it's not just a matter of volume. Scent is structurally dominant in how dogs interpret every new encounter. Researchers studying canine greeting behavior have found that dogs who are allowed to initiate scent contact first show measurably lower stress responses than dogs who are approached without that beat. The sniff isn't a formality. It's the whole introduction. That's not your dog being difficult. That's your dog asking for a proper greeting in the only language they've ever known. And here's something we're going to come back to later. Because what your dog is actually reading when they smell you, after a long day away from home, goes much deeper than most owners ever consider. We'll get there. 2. Don't stare them down. You're saying something you don't mean. Have you ever locked eyes with your dog and held it, just admiring them, or waiting to see what they'd do, and noticed something subtle shift in their posture? Most people think sustained eye contact with their dog is bonding. You've probably heard it framed that way. And there's a kernel of truth in it, but only under conditions most owners don't realize they're accidentally violating every day. Here's what's really happening on the other side of that stare. In dog social language, a direct, unbroken gaze is a pressure signal. Between unfamiliar or uncertain dogs, it's often what precedes a confrontation. Your dog understands this fluently, and when the person they love most locks eyes with them, no softness, no blink, no release. Some part of their ancient wiring reads it as a challenge. Not because they doubt you, because that's what a hard stare has always meant. Ethologist Turid Rugas spent years documenting what she called calming signals in dogs. The small, deliberate behaviors dogs use to diffuse social tension. Sustained direct eye contact appears on that list as a stressor dogs actively work to soften, often by looking slightly away, offering a yawn, or turning their head to the side. Separately, research has confirmed that mutual eye contact between dogs and their owners does release oxytocin in both. But the bonding effect depends heavily on the quality and softness of the gaze, not just its duration. That's not your dog avoiding connection. That's your dog trying to tell you that the way you're looking at them feels like pressure, and they're too loyal to say so. And hey, if this is already changing the way you see your dog, hit that like button and subscribe. That's how we get these videos to more dog owners who want to understand what their dog has been trying to tell them. There's one moment, by the way, where this rule matters more than almost any other point in your dog's day. It happens every single time you walk through your front door. We're going to get to that. 3. Calm down before you walk through the door. Have you ever come home after a difficult day, walked in, and immediately met your dog at their energy level? Voice going high, hands going fast, the whole reunion escalating into something loud and spinning? Most people think that's exactly what their dog wants. The big greeting, the noise, the chaos, and your dog loves you. But what's happening inside their nervous system in that moment is something different from what you're picturing. Here's what's really happening. Dogs don't just react to your emotional state. They absorb it. Researchers studying emotional contagion in dogs, including work out of Goldsmiths, University of London, have found that dogs respond to human emotional cues with genuine physiological changes, not just behavioral shifts, but measurable internal ones. Your dog doesn't experience your arriving stress as background noise. They experience it as weather. And the energy you carry through that door sets the emotional baseline for the hour that follows. When you spike an already excited dog by matching their frenzy and raising it, you're not greeting them. You're rehearsing dysregulation together. For dogs who already carry anxiety, that daily pattern doesn't feel like joy. It feels like the world confirming that arrivals are overwhelming. That's not your dog being dramatic. That's your dog feeling everything you walked in with. And they've been waiting all day for you to decide what kind of afternoon it's going to be. 4. Finish what you started. Interrupted walks, break something. Have you ever let your dog bury their nose in a patch of grass, watch them go completely still and focused, and then tug the leash because you were cold, or late, or just ready to move on? Most people think a walk is about distance. Miles logged, exercise completed, and if the dog got outside and moved their body, the walk was a success. But here's what most people don't realize. From your dog's perspective, the walk was never about the miles. It's about the reading. Every scent trail left by a dog who passed through 3 hours ago, every invisible boundary marker along a fence line, every change in who has been through this patch of sidewalk since yesterday. That's information. Alexandra Horowitz, a cognitive scientist at Barnard College who studies how dogs perceive the world, has written extensively on how scent-based exploration is mentally demanding and genuinely enriching in a way that physical exercise alone cannot replicate. A dog who sniffs freely on a walk comes home more satisfied, more settled, and more connected than a dog who covered twice the ground but never got to read a word of it. Behaviorists increasingly draw a firm line between physical and mental stimulation in dogs, noting that scent-deprived dogs show higher rates of restlessness at home, not because they didn't run enough, but because they didn't think enough. That's not your dog being slow. That's your dog doing the one thing that makes the world make sense to them, and all they're asking is that you wait. 5. Don't comfort fear. You're teaching them it's real. Have you ever watched your dog trembling during a storm and instinctively pulled them close, stroked them, and said, "It's okay, it's okay," in the softest voice you could manage? Most people believe that's exactly the right response. It's what you'd do for a frightened child. It comes from a completely genuine place of love. But here's what's really happening. Dogs look to their owners constantly for information about whether the world is safe. It's called social referencing, and research, including work by Marola and colleagues published in the early 2010s, has demonstrated that dogs check back with their owners before approaching unfamiliar or uncertain things, and that the owner's emotional response directly determines whether the dog moves toward something or retreats from it. When you rush over, drop your voice to a worried murmur, and flood a frightened dog with physical comfort, your body is broadcasting something their brain locks onto immediately. You're scared too, and that trembling doesn't get soothed. it gets confirmed. Applied behaviorists generally recommend calm, matter-of-fact presence during a dog's fearful moments, not cold distance, but grounded steadiness. The distinction is everything, and here's where it gets deeper. Your dog isn't looking for someone to feel afraid alongside them. They're looking for evidence that there's nothing to be afraid of. "I've got you, and I'm not scared," lands completely differently in a dog's nervous system than "I've got you, and I'm worried too." That's not withholding comfort. That's giving them the one thing that actually helps. A leader whose body tells them the storm is just noise. 6. Consistency isn't rigidity. It's safety to them. Have you ever let your dog jump up on the couch on a slow Sunday, then told them off for the same thing on Monday when guests arrived, and watched the confusion move across their face like a shadow? Most people think of this as minor. Rules flex. Life isn't a training manual, and the dog loves you no matter what. So what's the real harm in a little inconsistency? But here's what's really happening inside your dog every time the rules shift without explanation. Dogs don't carry the concept of situational exceptions. What they carry is a working model of the world, built through repetition, through pattern, through what has always been true before, that tells them what's safe, what earns closeness, and what threatens the relationship. When that model breaks without warning, they don't simply adapt. They start scanning. They stop trusting the map and start watching your face instead, trying to reverse engineer which version of today is operating. Research grounded in behavioral science, tracing back to foundational work on unpredictable reinforcement and what it produces in animals, consistently finds that inconsistent environments generate more anxiety than reliably strict ones. A dog who knows exactly what to expect is a calmer, more confident dog than one who never knows which rules are in play. Predictability isn't the enemy of warmth. It's the foundation of it. That's not your dog being oversensitive. That's your dog trying to build a map of a world that keeps shifting under them and asking you quietly to please just hold still. 7. They read the moment you come home and carry it for hours. Have you ever wondered what your dog actually does while you're gone? Whether they sleep straight through, or drift near the door, or feel something in the quiet of a house waiting to be filled again. Most people assume their dog simply powers down between visits, that the day is blank until you return, and the reunion is just a warm reflex, nothing more. So they don't think carefully about how they leave in the morning, or how distracted they are when they walk back in, or what energy fills the room in those first few seconds. But here's what's really happening, and this pays off something from much earlier. The rule about letting your dog sniff first, about understanding what their nose is actually doing. The moment you walk through that door, your dog isn't simply excited to see you. They're reading you. In the 2 or 3 seconds before you speak, before you even make real eye contact, their nose has already run a full scan. They know if something shifted during your day. They know if you're carrying tension. They know whether the person standing in front of them right now is the same one who left this morning. Research from Queen's University Belfast found that dogs can reliably detect human stress through scent alone, independent of any behavioral cue, independent of body language or tone of voice. Just the chemistry of you walking through the door tells them what kind of day it was. And separately, attachment research has found that the quality of reunion interactions directly affects a dog's baseline anxiety for hours afterward. Not minutes. Hours. Think about what that means. Every rushed departure, every distracted homecoming where you were already on your phone before you'd said hello, every time the reunion was technically there, but emotionally hollow. Your dog registered all of it, not as grievance, they don't hold grudges, but as data, as an update to the model of what coming home feels like. And here's where it connects to the second thing we flagged early on. The moment at the front door that matters more than almost anything else in your dog's day. This is that moment. The rule they've been holding you to in silence every single day is this. Show up as someone I can exhale into. Not perfect, not always steady. Just present enough that I know you're here. And here is safe. Your dog isn't asking for a performance. They're asking for 30 seconds of actually arriving, putting down whatever the day handed you, getting low, letting them read you, and find something calm. That's the whole rule. 30 seconds. That's not neediness. That's the purest form of trust a living creature can offer another. Your dog never needed you to be an expert, or to get it right every time, or to understand every signal they've ever sent. They just needed you to be fluent enough in their language to know you were always the rule they most wanted to follow.